There is talk, and I say it's more than talk at this point, basically all but confirmation of a European Super League that will be starting, depending on what reports you believe, either next season or the season 2022, the season after, depending on your thoughts on things. We'll go through what it means. And this is coming from, it's broke by the Telegraph. It's been reported in lots of different publications at this point. Top European soccer teams, this is coming from New York Times, so that's why they're saying soccer, but football, agreed to join Breakaway League, a group that includes United, Juventus, Liverpool and Real Madrid, has agreed in principle a plan that would upend the sports structures and economics. Now, this is quite a long article, but I'll start it off and we can sort of infer the rest as we go along. A group of the world's richest and most storied soccer clubs has agreed in principle on a plan to create a breakaway European competition that would, if it comes to fruition, upend the structures, economics and relationships that have bound global soccer for nearly a century. After months of secret talks, the breakaway teams, which include Real Madrid and Barcelona in Spain, Man United and Liverpool in England, and Juventus and AC Milan in Italy, could make an announcement as early as Sunday, so today, according to multiple people familiar with the plans.
Well, that's why it's come out, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
because basically someone's pre-warned the press. Surely.
This story is developing as we go on. So what we're hearing at the moment is that UEFA, who have had an emergency meeting today, because this is likely to be announced tonight.
So this is, just for anyone who doesn't know, this is outside of UEFA. This is its own separate thing.
So these European super
Champions
clubs
League,
have come together to create a league which would replace the Champions League and the Europa League and Europa Conference League and all those kind of things. It would mean no relegations for them, which you could see why it would, be highly, lucrative to them because they won't be getting chucked out of European competition. And if you look at, like, Arsenal are in this, Spurs are in this. Like, first off, I thought we were talking European super clubs, but like these clubs that aren't even in the top 10, some of them are going to be allowed to be in European competition. So you can see why the owners would want this to happen.
Let me go through the full list of teams so far that have been reported to be in it. So the teams committed to the Super League plan are, for the moment, in England, it's 6 teams. It's United, Liverpool, City, who were initially reported not to be interested, but as of recently now are supposedly interested. United, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. The other ones are Atletico, Real Madrid and Barcelona. And then in Italy, it's AC Milan, Inter Milan and Juventus.
So no German, no French teams.
No French. And apparently this is down to, it says here, the group has been trying to get other top teams like Germans, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund to commit, but to date, those clubs and others, including PSG, which we'll get onto, have declined to turn their backs on the decades-old domestic structures and continental competitions.
City were originally this morning, I believe, not to be a part of it, and now all of a sudden they are.
Yeah.
Having no Bayern Munich in it would be weird because you would consider them a European super club.
I mean, literally,
they are literally, and they are a super club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're now hearing breaking out. So following the news that's broken out regarding these teams creating this league and the announcements coming soon, UEFA have met today and they could very heavily sanction these clubs and exclude them. Not sure how much effect this has because the clubs don't want to be in it from the Champions League from next season.
We're leaving the Champions League, right? Well, we'll ban you if you do.
No, but it would have an impact if some of these clubs, they were going to be in the Champions League next season and then the following season was because you think of clubs losing out on money and then losing out on the Champions League money for a season would be an issue.
Longer term, the clubs, especially the ones like ours that are tight, that are thinking, if we could just turn up every day and be in the Champions League, sweet, that I think they'd take the hit on that this year. And I also don't think that the Champions League as a product, I think they have to threaten that. But what's going to be a Champions League next year with Paris and Bayern Munich and, I don't know, Steaua Bucharest or something? It's not really going to fly. Bayern Munich
sitting on 20 European Cups in
the next 10,
15 years.
What's interesting is that like UEFA's ruling of football in Europe is almost self-assumed. Everybody signed up to it because of the European competition. Otherwise, English football governs English football, Scottish football governs Scottish football, Spanish football governs Spanish football, and they've all got different rules that come together under UEFA's banner. Because there's obviously several different governing bodies in football. FIFA and IFAB set the rules for the world. You have UEFA, which UEFA really just exists to control some competitions. It has the international competitions, obviously the European Championships. It has the Europa League, the Champions League, and now, as of, was that in 2 seasons?
Well,
that
was one of the things as well, because with this, I know that you're talking something else there, but when you're talking about those sanctions, there are some reports that this will happen the season after next.
Yeah.
But there are other reports today that this will happen next season.
But that could force it, couldn't
which
it?
then negates that potential discipline from UEFA. It's like, well, you can join that in 2 years, but next year you're not in the Champions League.
That punishment could force the decision to come earlier, couldn't it?
Yeah,
as well?
exactly. Because
Like
they
if
go, well,
could
yeah,
go,
we're
"Fuck it
not
then."
going to do it anyway.
What's interesting about this is proper Americanization of football. Isn't
It's
it?
wrong, mate. It's so wrong.
It's like how the basketball leagues and all those kind of things are. No threat of relegation, which I don't care about West Ham or Leicester City, but it's interesting that one of those teams could get Champions League football this year. It's interesting that. What could that do for them, and how could that change the course of history for their club with the money that comes from that? Once you close that off,
it's earned. Everything in football at the moment is earned. Every single thing about it is earned. And when you start ring fencing certain people and certain teams, I don't even like the fact that 4 teams in England get to go in the Champions League. It's nonsense. I didn't really even necessarily like it and how they kept the name the Champions League when it wasn't Champions in Man United. I think we're the first team to benefit from that in '98 when we qualified as runners-up. But when you have those rules that have seemingly now been established, I didn't think you could go any further than the top 4 teams qualify for this midweek European competition. And it's interesting because I spoke to Martin Edwards about this, about the European Super League, because a couple of years ago before I interviewed him, this had sort of come up again, I guess, when they was actually planning it, I would have thought. And he was like, you've got your European Super League. It plays midweek and it's called the Champions League. And you're like, yeah, but I guess they wanted even more games. Because aren't they talking like, is it 10 games in your group now? But you don't even have a group. You kind of just cherry pick who you're playing. And you kind of just get like, is it 10 games across your group of whatever?
I reckon it ends up becoming like Western Conference, Eastern Conference.
It's
and then
pathetic.
It's going to be like that kind of NBA style kind of thing.
Pathetic.
You can just see it happening. And look, I haven't met a fan yet that actually wants this. And does it not then devalue the Premier League?
100%.
Because what isn't the top 4? Hasn't that become a thing over the last 15, 20 years?
Honestly, if Arsenal finish 10th and end up in European competition playing against Bayern Munich, well, maybe not Bayern Munich, but playing against like Real Madrid, Barcelona.
They'll be happy Bayern Munich ain't in it. They usually slap them 7.
But do you know what I mean? How is that a thing? It has everything in football is on results. It is a results business. And like you said, if you wanted to create a Super League over these are so-called biggest clubs, well, let's have some actual success as the barometer. Say, do you know what? If you've won a European Cup, you can come in.
Yeah. Get Celtic and Forest.
How are Spurs there, bro? I genuinely.
Well, I mean,
really pisses
how are
me
Spurs
off.
there over fucking Villa? How are Arsenal
Forest.
there over fucking Villa? Well, at least Villa are in the Premier League at the moment.
It's like.
And above Arsenal, by the way, I think.
Yeah,
still. I
maybe,
don't know if that result changes it.
Let me go through some of the
fucking 10 to 10.
the finer details in terms of the money and stuff, because that is where this is all coming from, isn't it?
Fucking bollocks.
So these are according to documents reviewed by the Times in January, but this is sort of sped up since then. Top clubs sought to take advantage of the uncertainty with the soccer industry caused by the pandemic to forge a new path that would ensure a degree of financial stability for the big teams, but would also almost certainly lead to a significant and potentially devastating loss in revenue for the teams excluded from the project. So now, as you mentioned, West Ham, Leicester have got a very decent shout of getting Champions League money next season. That would be gone with this. Each of the teams would be permanent members of the proposed Super League, would be promised 350 million euros or $425 million, because this is an American site, to sign up according to those documents that were leaked in January. Under the new proposals, the Super League, which would play its matches in midweek, so obviously, you know, it's getting rid of the Champions League, sought to secure the top 16 soccer teams or franchises as permanent members to add 4 qualifiers down from to domestic competitions. The clubs would be split into 2 groups of 10, with the top 4 teams in each of these groups qualifying for the knockout stages, culminating in a final, obviously similar to what we know now, which would take place on the
Eastern
weekend.
Conference, West Coast Conference.
You know what's fucked, yeah?
Essentially.
It's going to be a
As well.
7-game series for the
UEFA
finals.
ain't going to stop their shit. So they're still going to be doing it. We're going to have all sorts of European competitions going on. And eventually,
It's like boxing with 100 different belts.
How it's not. How did it? When do we decide if someone else gets added to that group? When do we decide if someone else doesn't get added? What's the criteria for getting added to that?
You know, Kev Campbell created the Next Gen series, which was a great idea at the time, and it actually filled a hole that was needed and wasn't being utilised. So the Next Gen series was European clubs who are in the Champions League. Their junior clubs, under 19s, are going to play against each other. Then UEFA went, that's a good idea, and called it the Youth League and added it to the thingy. Sometimes new competitions are good and add value to what's going on. This is bollocks. This is an absolute money grab. And I don't even want United to be in this unless we've qualified for it on merit. This is absolute disgrace.
To play devil's advocate, or even this isn't even devil's advocate, because I'm not saying I'm happy with this. But ultimately, when it happens, we're going to be... We're going to benefit
football
from it, fans we're by the balls, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
And it's gonna almost create this monopoly in football.
Yep.
But ultimately, as football fans, we kind of just got can we prevent this? Do you think there's a possibility of this being prevented?
If there was mass boycotts across Europe, you might see some change going to games. But I mean, it's not. It's proven so far impossible to put that sort of thing together. So I don't think anything.
And I think the pandemic has shown these people that we don't need our grounds full, mate.
We don't need the fans.
We don't need you.
It don't matter. They're going to sign the fattest TV deal that's ever been signed.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed I'm going to lose a few things.
Is this UEFA's fault then for not maybe...
It's a good point.
Broke, mate.
But this is a point because one of the reasons that this has been said to have happened is because of sort of a pushback against changes UEFA wanted to make to the Champions League, one of which was extending it to more teams. So basically they want this fucking big fat Champions League thing. So maybe potential for there being smaller leagues in that as well going forward. But I think... the big teams wanted assurances and wanted to have some control in how the Champions League was run.
It's where the clubs are getting bigger than them. Like, who
it's
do you
pathetic.
think you are?
Yeah, the clubs think of themselves as bigger than the governing body.
Bigger than the game.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to push through because they wanted to be able to control the format and the structure of the Champions League. And UEFA were going, we're making this change, and then the clubs went,
and you've
no,
got to think. You know how in the Premier League, like we don't even think of these impacts. You know how in the Premier League we pride ourselves on. Everyone's got so much money that Leicester can buy all these players, make a team, and build them. Now, once you take that, Leicester haven't even got the carrot of possibly one day qualifying for the Champions League. Why would players go there?
Yeah.
No.
So you're diminishing the quality
makes
of
every
the
league look like France and Scotland.
Might as well have Celtic.
Yeah, something like that.
It does. And Germany. And like teams where there'll be one or two teams or whoever's... I mean, I currently, as it stands, the 12 teams that are in it, 6 of them are English. So that ain't happening. Or if it is, what's it going to be? 6 English teams, 3 Spanish teams, 3 Italian teams. Well, that's shit anyway.
Who are the Spanish teams?
The Spanish teams are Atletico, Barca and Real Madrid.
Like, why Atletico?
Yeah, because they got to a couple.
I know they've got to loads of finals, but why Atletico?
Yeah, I don't know.
Over Valencia or Villarreal or... So, like, why?
Yeah.
Why Spurs, man? Spurs don't belong,
Ajax.
bro.
What's Ajax? I can't imagine.
Where's Ajax?
Ajax generally do what's right for football, generally.
Yeah. There hasn't been mentioned.
Ajax have been to a semi-final more recently than us.
Yeah.
No, I think they've won more than us. I think they won 4.
Oh, yeah. Let's ignore that.
Ignore that bit.
It's an utter disgrace, man. I'm not going to lie. I've always seen the rumours and thought it's not going to happen.
Yeah, me too.
And seeing that today
so disappointed.
and it come out of the blue, it kind of hurts a little bit. Yeah. Like, I'm really disappointed by it.
Because you all know this is the end of the game. This now
Game's
moves into I didn't want to cliche it, but it's the end of the game because now it moves into some other shit. The great thing about football, all of football, is the pyramid that exists around it. The fact that you can do what Brian Clough did and win the second tier in English football, win the first tier in English football, and become European champions. That's what makes football fucking great, because those romantic stories exist and they happen, right? You can do what Celtic's Lisbon Lions did and have a fucking team that grew up within pissing distance of Celtic Park, grow them together and become European champions. You can do what United did by having all of the fucking kids that we've had come through and go and win.
Even
that
things
thing.
like, does Mourinho happen?
No.
That Porto win and all that. You're like, Do you get those?
Porto aren't on that fucking list.
Not so far, no. Obviously,
It's like, do you know,
if they
like,
want
little
2
things-
leagues of
probably
10, they
good
need
for us
to add
if
teams
Mourinho
to this
did
list
happen,
pretty
but,
quick.
Like,
But yeah.
do things like that happen?
And that's what makes football great. As much as it hurt us, like the rest of Europe buzzed off him running down the touchline at Old Trafford. All of those moments are what make football great. The reason that the highs are the highs, because the lows absolutely volley you in the dick. And when there's no lows, you get NFL. And the only people who give a fuck about it are weirdos in England and people that are in America.
And this is where you'll start getting franchise football clubs. And I'll tell you why. Because now, if someone wants to be in the European Super League, they can only buy one of those clubs. Then you'll see people buying those clubs and being like, right, I'm going to move you to where I want to be.
We're going to Gibraltar.
Like, you know, so you could open the door up now for potentially crazy
One in,
shit like
New
that.
York. That's what might happen. Something insane like who's the most? All right, the most skint team in the world is Barcelona, so they're probably not a great example of this. But let's say, oh fuck it, Inter Milan, because their owners have gone west, haven't they? Right? Let's say Inter Milan, because they're completely fucked, and that's why a lot of us are signing up to this. United are in a lot of debt. Barcelona are in a lot of debt. I think Atletico are in a lot of debt, and people are going 350 million.
Real Madrid are in a fair bit of debt.
true.
Not quite as bad as some
Sign on the
others,
dot.
but
And that's why Manchester City was like, yeah, we'll just see what happens. We don't want to piss UEFA off for a change.
And you
And
know
we
how
don't need the
we've
money.
been looking at transfers being maybe some won't happen because of money. Maybe Real Madrid have got the money for Pogba.
Yeah, maybe they're all sitting there waiting for that 350 million to clear. So we go and check the cash machine, see if that 350's landed yet.
You know, when,
hang on,
you
before
know,
I
you're
make
in
a
a gyro
decision.
and everyone's at the thing of
Before I make a decision, Joe, do we have a name for this yet?
For what, the European Super League?
Yeah, is it just going to be European Super
As
League?
far
Because
as I'm
that's
aware.
disappointing, isn't
As
it?
far as I'm aware.
we might never hear the child.
This is the point I was getting to. Does it have a theme tune?
Oh, it will do. It'll be shite and all.
Oh, it's gonna be proper fucking. They're gonna get.
Do you know where that
Pitbull
came
and
from, by the
Fucking
way?
Neo to
I
do
do.
it or something like that,
Go
ain't
on.
they?
It was I listened to a podcast with the guy who wrote that was on. It's based off Zadok the Priest, isn't it? Which is another song.
From?
Just
There was two sporting events that happened preceding
Oh.
the invention of the Champions League, which was the inspiration, which is why when they
well,
created
they used
it,
that when I think kings and queens are thingy given the throne in England.
It's
They use that
interesting
song.
as
They play
well,
that song,
that.
but I don't know where that comes from.
Marca
but it's based off
Report.
of that. If you listen to the two, they're very
it
similar.
was Italia 90 and Barcelona
Yeah.
Olympics because they had such iconic theme
Yeah.
tunes. UEFA went,
We need a theme tune.
We did a theme tune.
Yeah, and that's
Sing
what it's
the theme
based
tune
on.
right
So
there.
and do you know what? And fair play, it was one of the best things to happen to football.
Yeah.
As mad as it sounds, marketing and branding, the Champions League fucking smashed it out of the park
Yeah.
because people have it as their ringtone.
I even
people
remember the
text each
adverts.
other.
It's such a good
You know
song.
the adverts like
And
on
do you know
ITV, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Heineken adverts.
And do you know the lyrics as well are just like, we are the champions.
MasterCard
this is
adverts
the
are great.
champions. The champions are here. It's
The
just
best team.
the best team in Europe. It's literally just the cheesiest, shittest lyrics, but it's so good. One point quickly about PSG, because we haven't actually given the details on that. French champions PSG, for example, have been invited to join, but so far have resisted. Its
So have
president, have they?
Yeah.
Nasser El Khelaifi sits on the UEFA board and also heads BN Media Group, the Qatar-based television network that has paid millions of dollars to UEFA for the rights to broadcast Champions
He's
League.
fucked.
So that's why PSG aren't in it. Bayern Munich aren't in it because they've gone, you know what, we like tradition. PSG aren't in it because they've gone, you know what, we like cash. So that's why they're not in it so
you know
far.
what? We can't lose this cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we need these guys to be in this competition.
But to your point, Steve, about the money of this.
PSG are going to finally win it when it means fuck all.
Yeah, I know. About the money of this, right?
The last one.
Like they can ensure every single season United play Madrid, United play PSG, United play Chelsea, United play City.
I don't want to play them every
Well,
fucking
no,
week.
neither do I.
every-
But that's
yeah.
money-wise. There's no more. You know, who would it be? Shakhtar versus Porto.
We're going to get the video pulled. Take that off.
Yeah.
Take that off. Take that off.
Yeah, we're
take
gonna-
that off, take that off, take that
Steve.
off.
It's
Take that-
incidental.
No, take
Turn
that off.
Steve's
Take that
mic off if
Take
you
that
have to.
off. Take that off. Jesus wept.
So that's where the money comes from, obviously. You know,
Children. Just fucking
children on here. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments because I can't imagine any football
You
fan.
needed to find the karaoke version of it. That's how I did Stan.
Someone playing it.
We found a
the
fake
street.
version of Stan where some British fella made it out in his bedroom.
I can't imagine any football fan being a fan of this.
No one's gonna be happy. And look, we want to know your thoughts in the comments because not only is this on the watch line, we put it out as another video as well. So get your comments in the comments below. Are you for or against it? Look, we're all against it, but we know as soon as it comes, we're going to want to be going to the games and that. And it's kind of just fucked, innit? It's fucked. It is the death of football.
Proper fucked.
You wouldn't boycott it then?
If everyone's on it, I do it. If I'm going to be boycotting it on my own, then fuck is point in that. Just standing outside.
That's the spirit.
Standing outside the club
That's
on
the
your own.
spirit. I'll happily be the millionth person at the march.
Standing
but I'm not
outside
being
the club on your own. Like, what's the point in that? Let me know there's a plan. I'm on it.
Half protest McKola over here.
The whole thing about protests is they only work when it's all of you, right? So him just standing outside going, stop going in.
Well, that's true.
It's like Thierry Henry jumped off Twitter and everyone went, see you later, mate.
Oh, he's back 24 hours later.
It's like,
Or is he
all
not?
right, all right,
all the
cool.
clubs are doing
Like,
it next week, aren't they?
it's like, all right, bye. Literally no one cared.
There's a few
5,000 people left United with FC United's formation.
No one cared.
Yeah. Don't even think attendance is dipped.
There's a few people in the comments saying that's socialism for you. No, that is about as good an example of capitalism as I've ever seen.
Socialism is
People
good.
blaming socialism.
Don't blame socialism for this.
No,
stupid.
socialism
That's
is what
not
Americans
socialism.
do.
It's what you find
They
when-
spread out all the best players to the shit teams. They all fucking don't get relegated. This fucks everyone. This makes the
capitalism
championship
gone mad.
less interesting, because the reason the championship's interesting is because everyone's trying to fight to get to the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as important to get to the Premier League anymore, because you're like, well, what's the fucking
Yeah,
point?
unless we win it, we get fuck all.
Yeah. And even if you win it, so if you win the Premier League now, what do you get? A fucking handshake and like a tour of fucking Thailand or something?
The aforementioned organisations have learned that a few English, Spanish and Italian clubs may be planning to announce their creation of a closed so-called Super League. If this were to happen, we wish to reiterate that UEFA, the aforementioned, will remain united in our efforts to stop this cynical project, a project that was founded in the self-interest of a few clubs at a time when society needs solidarity more than ever. We will consider all measures available to us at all levels, both judicial and sporting, in order to prevent this from happening. Football is based on open competitions and sporting merit. It cannot be done any other way. As previously announced by FIFA and the 6 federations, they could have just started using them three as those things as the name from the start.
The 6 federations?
Yeah.
Sounds like some Star Wars shit.
It does. The clubs concerned will be banned from playing in any competition at domestic, European or world level, and their players could be denied the opportunity to represent their national teams. We thank those clubs in other countries, especially the French and German clubs who have refused to sign up to this. We call on all lovers of football, supporters and politicians to join us in fighting against such a project if it were to be announced. The persistence of self-interest of a few has been going on for too long. Enough is enough. Doesn't get more
For the
fucking
many,
harsh
not the
than that.
few.
Doesn't get...
Do you know what? I support everything they're saying, but I did have a chuckle. Pass it me, let me have a look. There was a line in the middle of that where I was like, UEFA, you cheeky bastards.
Meanwhile, you're reading that, Adam.
A project founded on self-interest when society needs more solidarity than that. UEFA?
Yeah.
The Premier League co-signed that. Did I hear
Yeah.
that?
No, the English FA, not the Premier League, was it?
No, it's Premier League as well.
So they're basically saying you can't play the Premier League no more as well.
That's the suggestion.
That's a domestic
So it's
competition.
UEFA, English Football Association, and the Premier League.
No, but
from
I
the
mean, it
English
said UEFA and domestic competition, didn't it? Shit is getting real.
The
Yes,
club's
that's
concerned-
what I want to hear.
The clubs concerned will be banned from playing in any other competition at domestic, European, or world level.
The international stuff would make players go, whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can't play in a World Cup, if you can't play in the Euros, if you can't even play in the Premier League no more.
What
it's
might be
over,
interesting, though, is if they go, all right, we won't do it. We'll make it 40 teams.
Get everyone in.
Don't need a domestic then. Playing Wednesday and Saturday. Real Madrid Wednesday. Fucking Inter Milan on Saturday. Who's having it? And do you know what? Enough broadcasters will sign up that people did have it. And it'd be horrible. But you lot could come and all watch.
And you know
Paddock
what?
FC, and it'd be
That
mint.
would massively suit. That would massively suit clubs, because you know what? They don't care about fans, bro. They don't care about the fans that go to every game. You know the fans that go to away at Manchester United and have been going for their whole lives, and they will go for the rest of their lives. Man United don't want those kind of fans, because those kind of fans buy their ticket, go to the game, go home.
Yeah. They don't
They
roll
want
around
fans
with mega stuff.
that are going to come once, spend $1,000 on merch, spend everything on the concourse, do this, do that,
And
and,
that cycle
have that
continues.
cycle continuing.
Really
every week.
interesting, though, if the FA, Premier League, all them lot tried to do anything to the likes of United and, who was it, Liverpool, fucking, basically the big 6.
City, Tottenham.
All of them that are in the mixer with that one. and was like, you lot won't play in the Premier League. You're like, yeah. How much do you think you're going to get for the TV rights for the Prem without us lot? Who's watching to play?
But
You definitely got glitter on your face.
But the thing is, though, the suggestion up until this point isn't that...
Have you seen Twilight?
These teams aren't going to
I've seen it
leave.
in your eye, bro.
I'm shimmering like one of them motherfuckers.
These teams don't want to leave the Premier League.
No, they don't.
want to
But
leave
like,
the league.
if it depends how much poker face that you want to do, and be like, all right, ban us then, see what happens.
I mean, the sad thing is, like, obviously, it's not Ole or the players that are coming up with this. It's the owners and that sort of thing. Like, I just think that it is only money that matters here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think players will
about.
begin? Do you think we could see some sort of, because this is very early doors, isn't it? We've often heard it, but we've never felt the weight of a decision kind of actually happen.
Well, you never get a statement out of UEFA about it.
And would players start to think, actually, we're going to boycott this? The PFA
Maybe.
Like, I don't know.
PFA's fucking useless. It's
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Like wet toilet paper. It does literally fucking nothing. It's a pathetic organisation.